It's going to be fairly easy, in my opinion, for small businesses to avoid payback.
For those classified as essential businesses to still apply
Absolutely.
for?
There is no real catch. This becomes free money handed out by the government.
Hey there guys, Robert McDonald, the account manager for LANPRO Systems, and I'm excited about my interview with Sam Newland from HPNR, where we discuss the Paycheck Protection Program. If you have a comment or concern, shoot us an email at info@lanprosystems.com or leave a comment below. Now, let's get into the interview. Sam, thank you so much for getting on here and spending some time with me today as we go over all of this stuff, because it is confusing. It is a little overwhelming, if I may say so myself. You sent me some information to look over, so I was prepared somewhat for this conversation. But before we jump into this stimulus package in, some tax questions, etc., why don't you give us an overview of who you are and what HPNR does?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. So my name is Sam Newland. I'm a CPA and partner at Hawley Porter, Newland & Rickett. We are a CPA firm here in Bakersfield, California. We offer a variety of services, high-end tax planning, tax compliance, financial statement work, bookkeeping services to clients really throughout California and some throughout the world. So we have a diverse clientele, and we provide a diverse level of service.
What exactly is going on in the world of stimulus package? If you can give us a broad overview.
Sure. So a lot of this is hot off the presses. Just last Friday, President Trump signed the CARES Act, also known as the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. So within that act, there's several clauses that provide benefits to individuals and businesses alike. There's many opportunities to benefit from it, and of course, our economy has hit hard times. Just to put it plain and simple. This act is intended to help individuals, help the American citizens, help small businesses, and everyone in between. So there's some tremendous opportunities within this new law that I'm happy to share with you here today.
How much money are we talking about here?
Well, the perhaps most intriguing piece of this CARES Act is the Paycheck Protection Program. And there's $349 billion allocated to this program.
Wow.
To help small businesses keep afloat, to help them keep employees employed, and just to help them through this economic downturn. So this is a significant amount of money, $349 billion allocated to this portion, the Paycheck Protection Program.
Now, is that why in one of your emails to me, you said that this was going to be the most beneficial for businesses? Is that why you said that? Is because of the amount of money, or what makes it the most beneficial part of this whole thing?
Right. So there's a few aspects to the Paycheck Protection Program that in my opinion, make it the most beneficial. One, of course, is the funding level, the amount of money available to small businesses. But perhaps the biggest aspect of it is that the funds are dispersed, at least initially, in the form of a loan. However, if the small business borrower uses the funds in accordance with the program on qualified expenses, that loan is forgiven entirely, 100%. It doesn't have to be paid back. It converts to a grant. So that is what really makes it, in my opinion, the most beneficial part of this legislation.
Now, that is very confusing, because as I was reading that, I did see on here, it said that there's no collateral. So my first thought is, if you have no skin in the game, how are you going to be, obligated to pay this back? And then you read a little bit more, and then it says that if you use most of this, like you just said, for wages, forgivable wages. Now, does that mean just salaries, or what's all encompassed inside of this phrase wages?
Right. So let's back up just a step first.
Yeah.
To to kind of quantitate the significance of these loans to small businesses. And let's define small business. Let's start there. So a small business, according to this program, is one who employs 500 or fewer employees. So, that could be a substantial operation. The amount of the loan, the forgivable loan, is equal to 2.5 months of average monthly payroll. So you look back to 2019, determine what the payroll was for the year. You calculate your average monthly payroll, multiply that by 2.5 to get your 2.5 month factor, and that number is the loan amount that you received, and you could later be forgiven. So it could be quite substantial.
You said it goes off of the 2019 filings. Now,
2019 wages paid.
Wages paid. Now, what happens if a business has already kind of shut their doors? With us being in California, we've had a stay-home order for, I can't even tell you, I've lost track of days. I think we're going on, 3-4 weeks?
Right.
And so, as you can see, I'm in my bedroom right now and having this conversation. Welcome to my house. But for companies who have indeed shut their doors and essentially fired their employees, does this help them? Does this behoove them to bring them back onto that payroll to continue their wages getting done?
Absolutely. So this program is kind of designed to aid those employers and to encourage them to bring back employees, bring back employment to the 2019 levels that we experienced last year. So if employers who have previously laid off employees, given the circumstances, they bring them back, they could pay the employees their salaries and wages, the benefits, all those good things through this program, and it's essentially grant money. If the monies are used for payroll purposes, it's a great opportunity to get people back to work and get businesses back upright.
It says your loan forgiveness will be reduced if you decrease your full-time employee headcount. Your loan forgiveness will also be reduced if you decrease salaries and wages more than 25% for any employee that made less than $100,000 annualized in 2019.
What that information you're reading there is referring to is it's essentially you want to get the employees back to full employment. So if you don't accomplish that, if the small business doesn't accomplish that, let's say they only are able to bring back 75% of their employment as compared to 2019 on average, then that remaining 25%, of course, wouldn't be spent on qualified expenses because there's no payroll to pay if the employees aren't there. That remaining 25% would later need to be paid back.
Now, how soon should you be paying back this loan?
Well, it's going to be fairly easy, in my opinion, for small businesses to avoid payback. So let's make that clear. If done right, if planned properly, the payback is unlikely. It's pretty easy to qualify for the forgiveness under this program. But if for whatever reason you estimate too high on the amount you take in the loan, you're not able to expend those dollars on qualified expenses. And the qualified expenses include not just payroll, but they include payroll-related costs, state taxes for the employer, employee benefits, include sick pay, vacation pay. In addition to the payroll-related costs, it includes utilities, mortgage interest, and rent for those who are renting their places of business. So it's not just payroll that you get to use this money on. You just have to make sure that you don't use more than 25% of the borrowed funds on the non-payroll related items, the mortgage interest, the utilities, the rent. So again, it should be pretty easy for a small business to qualify for loan forgiveness. But if they don't, the loan does convert somewhat of a traditional loan, but at very favorable terms. The interest rate is only 0.5%, so pretty outstanding. There's no payments for 6 months, so that's a big benefit. You can help cash flow. Interest does accrue during that 6-month period, so it would be beneficial if the company had adequate cash to start paying it back as soon as possible. But it becomes a 2-year loan for the amount that's not forgiven. First 6 months is payment free if that's elected, and otherwise the balance will be paid over and due in 2 years.
Got it. Now, forgiveness. How does forgiveness work? Now, is there an application that has to be filled out? What does that look like? How do we say as a company, yes, we've used this money correctly?
Right. So that's a great question. So again, the forgiveness, if you take the loan, it's equivalent to 2.5 months worth of payroll costs, and you turn around and use those dollars in the 8-week period from the date you receive the loan, 8 weeks beyond that. If you use the borrowed funds on payroll, on rent, utilities, mortgage interest, if you use it all, you don't have to pay it back. Now, how the borrowers are going to prove that they've used the funds on qualified expenses is currently unknown. Banks will be administering this program from the loan application process to the substantiating that the forgiveness is qualified for. So I would imagine payroll tax returns will need to be supplied to the banks to show that the wages were paid, as well as other financial records that accountants and bankers will work together to accumulate to get these debts forgiven.
Now, should every business apply for this?
I say, why not? Why not? It's a real good opportunity to get folks back to work for those who've been laid off. It's a real good opportunity to keep doors open for those who are able to continue to work. It's just
so this would even be something, sorry to cut you off, but this would be even something for those classified as essential businesses to still apply for?
Absolutely. So even the essential businesses, those who were fortunate enough to be on that list and to have the opportunity to continue working, those essential businesses still have, for the most part, experienced hardship as a result of this COVID-19 virus. Whether it be in the form of reduced hours, in the form of reduced revenues, clientele not coming to the facility, customers not buying products, all the above. So as long as there's an economic hardship that can be shown, then the business can apply for this loan, use the funds as directed for qualified expenses, get it fully forgiven, and I see no reason why not to take it.
Sam, I wish that they would just call this get people back to work, because there's like 15 different names for this thing. There's the CARES, the relief, the COVID-19 aid, the Paycheck protection plan. I know I'm mixing some of these things in between, but there's so many different ways. But this is mostly what we've talked about today is just mostly about the Paycheck protection plan. Is that correct?
Right. The Paycheck Protection Plan is Paycheck Protection Program has been the primary topic of this conversation. Again, in my opinion, it's going to be the most beneficial. It'll get the most dollars into the hands of small business owners. And keep in mind, it's not just those who have employees who will qualify for this. Sole proprietors, self-employed individuals, independent contractors will be able to benefit from this as well based off their self-employment income. So even those guys who work on their own, this will help them because many of them are facing economic hardship as a result of all that's going on.
Yeah.
So it's really again within the CARES Act, I think that the Paycheck Protection Program is really the best benefit. There are many other benefits within the Act that are available to individuals and to business owners. Some of which, if you apply and go through the Paycheck Protection Program, you don't get as well. So it's kind of no double dipping. for good reason, kind of beyond the scope of this conversation, but you kind of get the best bang for your buck out of the Paycheck Protection Program.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Sam. I have one last question before we get going. Just quickly touching on taxes. The goalpost has been moved. We are now looking at July 15th. Is this good? Is this bad? Do you have the ability to sleep at night right now? How's it going with that?
Yeah, so the deferral, if you want to call it, of the tax deadline from April 15th to July 15th certainly takes a lot of pressure off of tax practitioners, CPAs, and the like. It's fortunate. It's also very strange for those of us who are used to working long hours this time of year. It's very unusual for CPAs to be at home with their families on the weekend in late March, early April. I haven't done that in a very long time. It's almost natural and uncomfortable. But the moving of that deadline has provided great relief because we have to be cautious as well with bringing clients into our offices. Now we've cut that back. We have to be cautious about asking clients just to come out of their home. We're trying to utilize DocuSign e-signature tools, communicate via email, conference calls, video chats even. It's becoming the norm.
Yeah.
So, but all that is new to a lot of folks. So it takes more time. We're just kind of going at a slower pace. So the deadline being pushed back to July 15th is certainly helpful.
Well, Sam, we clearly did not get through all the stuff that you even sent me. But if someone needs more information or more guidance, how can they get a hold of you? Well,
I can be reached at 661-873-4900. But I would also encourage anyone watching this video to contact their bankers, contact their CPAs, because, again, this program will be administered through the banks. Many of our local banks, if not all of them, are participating. I know that because I've talked with them already. They're on the front lines. They're going to be processing the applications, getting the funds dispersed, assisting with the qualifications for forgiveness. So talk with your bankers, talk with your CPAs. If you need to call me, feel free. I'm happy to chat. And starting Friday, April 3rd, the small businesses can apply for this. So it's going to be a scramble, because there's $349 billion allocated here. But that's it. I mean, it's a tremendous amount, but once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And the application period ends June 30th. So it will be, I do expect a mad rush. I do expect bankers to get bombarded and it to be challenging because this is unprecedented times. We haven't done this before.
Yeah.
So they're learning the rules just like the rest of us. It's all coming out pretty quickly. But they'll start accepting applications on Friday. That's the earliest. And then next Friday, the 10th, is when the independent contractors and self-employed can apply as well. So they've got another week before they could start applying.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sam. And thank you for all you guys are doing to bring clarity during this chaotic time. We wish you nothing but the best of health for you, the family, and all the coworkers over at HPNR.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you for doing this. Thanks for LANPRO and all you guys do this time. It's a great effort, great support of the community.